Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever gone to the zoo? Sometimes you see really majestic, beautiful creatures over in the zoo, but other times you see animals that don't look much more intelligent than those that are capable of eating their own feces. Now, I do understand there is a bit of a biological need for that sometimes to protect yourself from other predators. This is absolutely not the case. This example is an analogy for animals that just do it for fun. And of course, what I'm talking about is a game played between two 600 rated players. What other way could we substitute a potential visit to a local zoo than by analyzing the games played between folks of this level? Now, a little bit of a caveat, however, the person who submitted this game, very generously one of my subscribers, playing from the Netherlands, this is a game they used to the level they used to be at. Now they're actually a near 1100 rated player in Rapid, so we all start somewhere. White begins the game with e4, and in this game, the players made 48 bad moves. Let's have some fun. e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, and folks, when I tell you, this is as good as it gets, I'm not joking. Like, this is it, okay? You can pause the video here, go grab a glass of water, go pee, go take a little bathroom break, all right, call your friend, go to the gym. When you get back, the rest of this game is chaos. This is as good as it gets. Black, of course, should develop the knight. Black should play bishop c5. Black should not play the following move, which is knight d4. I mean, what are we doing? Why did Black just gallop into town on the horse? For what? That knight is not just developing, it serves a purpose. That knight guards the pawn. So when White is faced with the decision of whether to take the knight or the pawn, of course, considering you literally just played the move that attacks the center pawn, you would take the pawn, right? No, that would be asking for a little bit too much, and we take the pawn, we take the knight instead. Now, this knight can go to a handful of squares. I really don't care where you move it, so this is not a bad move. Although Black is better now. And Black here, of course, rather than attacking the knight or developing the bishop or developing the knight, Black moves the queen, because why not? And Black is already completely lost. Move 5, Black is lost. Black saw this and very conveniently forgot that they're just hanging a fork. The craziest thing about finding knight takes c7 is that it's not hard at all, considering you literally just moved there. I mean, you're not going to take now, but why not in this case? But as I told you, chaos is just beginning. Now White, faced with this dilemma, and obviously not seeing this move because White would have played it by now, plays the move bishop to e2. I cannot even begin to fathom the move bishop to e2. What? Why would you not play bishop to d3 at least? Or bishop to c4, or bishop to b5? I know bishop b5, there's c6, but White didn't see that. You can also go here defending this. What does bishop e2 do? Well, certainly the idea is to castle, right? So queen takes e4, and now White has the opportunity to move the knight out of the way, and White does. White actually does, in fact, spot that the knight is hanging. Their plans of castling are derailed, so they play knight takes... Oh, they hang the knight in one move. Okay, so now there's a knight hanging here for absolutely free, and there's queen takes g2. Now, bishop takes b4 is a pretty difficult move to spot. It's very far away, but the queen did just make 2 moves, so you might as well continue the journey, right? All right, if you're not going to take the knight, at least you're going to grab this free pawn. No. d6. Not taking the knight or the pawn, but rather blocking your own attack. Okay. Well, now White castles. I mean, that was White's idea after all. Now, Black here, you know, obviously moved here to develop the light squared bishop. So Black does that, right? Black plays bishop to e6. No. No. Okay, so Black does not develop this. This is blocked, so naturally Black develops the knight, of course. No, Black plays d4. What? What? d6, d5. That's not how that works. You cannot play chess as if you parked at a grocery store in one spot, but a little bit in front of you is another spot with no cars around it. You can't just slide forward like this after just committing to that. Because you have a queen and a king on the same line and nothing else developed. White wins here by force. This is why you always got to look for checks. Bishop to b5 check and rook to e1 and the game is over. Black is just completely lost, right? Instead of that, white plays the very solid d3. I mean, the other person moved their d-pawns. I might as well join them. Now nobody can move. I used to teach this 5-year-old kid in like a preschool program, and every time in the beginning of the game that the pawns would go like this, the kid would look up at me and go, "They're frozen." Frozen. The pawns are frozen because they can't move. Neither one of them can move. Adorable. Adorable. But in this case, considering that white is probably a 30-year-old man, yeah, not as adorable. Yeah, d3 is definitely not the way to go. Queen slides back to e5. So again, this is just on the same line. That knight is now still hanging. White plays rook e1. That's an incredible move. I mean, the fact that that was even spotted is amazing. Okay. Now, black, believe it or not, can stop the discovered attack in a couple of ways. First of all, black can block, right? The queen, the king are now intercepted. But black can actually take this knight, and that prevents anything because the rook is under attack. That is absolutely brutal. That stinks if you're playing here with white. I mean, that's awful. What a cold shower. I mean, my goodness. Did that happen? No, of course not. No, of course black lost the queen. What did you really think that's, I mean, are you crazy? You clicked on the video. No, I mean, to black's credit, black slid back, teamed up the bishop, and just went here. And at this level, there is no concept that there is a person on the other side of the screen or board, over the board, that's trying to beat you. It's all selfish. Like, Gregory never for a moment even thought what white would play here. And that is a skill you must develop. And the better you get, the faster it comes to you. Like, oh, how can they put me in danger? By moving the bishop literally anywhere. Anywhere. Doesn't matter. Makes no difference. The queen is lost. Bishop h5 is the most aggressive move, and it can't be taken because it's protected, and also you're pinned. And white has won a queen. Now, under normal circumstances, the game ends in about 10 moves. 10 moves. The next move for white can be bishop g4, forcing an exchange. Bishop takes, you know, something like this. The king cannot castle, so black might play like knight f6, blundering the g7 pawn. Or something like knight to e7. At this point, white should develop yet another piece, bring the rook to the party, and just absolutely slaughter the king. With the queen, the rook, and everybody else. But this is a game of 600s. I mean, the brain is almost as smooth as a koala's. You know what I'm talking about? Relax, by the way. You know, sometimes I do these, like, lose a chess playlist games. I'm just trying to entertain you. And we're trying to, like, laugh together. Some of you get really offended when I make these recordings. I see your comments. You're like, and you, like, go to, like, Reddit chess. You're like, you know, Gotham, that YouTuber, he takes his audience for granted and he insults people. This is not, no. This is not insulting. This is not insulting. This is, we're all just having fun. Chess is a painful game, so we're all just kind of laughing together. Just be a good sport about it, okay? Anyway, let's go back to laughing about these moves. Queen to e1. I don't hate that move. I love that move. Queen e1 is a really nice move. I just talked about a move like queen e2 or bishop g4. Anyway, that's pinned now, so you can take this. Oh my. Oh my. Okay, rook d8, so there is no threat. Now, it's mate in 4. Because if you saw that this is pinned, you might also see that this is pinned. And queen e6 is just a beautiful move. Beautiful move. Of course, that doesn't happen. But bishop f4 is very reasonable as well. Defended like this, I love this. Here's something really funny happens. Black plays bishop b4. The move bishop b4 hangs mate again, but it wasn't seen once. It probably won't get seen again. You know what I mean? Queen e6 is not going to happen. But bishop b4 attacks a diagonal attacking piece, which can just take. Like, the same way this bishop does not attack the other bishop, it has to be defended. You can't attack a queen with an unguarded bishop. I mean, and second of all, there's a knight here. That hangs a piece 2 different ways for absolutely nothing. Instead of that, white goes here. Now, make no mistake, white is completely winning. I mean, it is not close. White is threatening this, and still that. And white was actually very close to getting lucky and playing that move. Black plays rook takes d5. White still has this, but instead goes here and is going to be picking up a rook. Now, by accident, white hangs a bishop. By accident, black sees that the bishop is hanging. When black took this, black had absolutely no idea that that was happening. And again, black is in hungry, hungry hippo mode, all right? Black is starving. Black hasn't captured anything at all, so it's going to eat everything super quickly, right? Rook h5, queen h8. What's the count of material? White has a queen and one pawn for 2 pieces, and those pieces are knight and bishop, so naturally you have to preserve the knight, right? Very lucky that the bishop defends. What I would play here is rook e1, but I'm trash because that would hang a rook in one move. But you would love to, I'm just kidding, I wouldn't have played rook e1, but you want to play rook e1, so a3 is very important, and if the bishop tries to cover, you would play b4, and rook e1 is very important because the bishop has to guard the knight, so what you would do is sacrifice this and get the 2 pieces off the board, and now the only thing you need to do is not get back rank mated. That's it. As long as you have a getaway for your king, you will never lose. In fact, you can fork the king and rook, but let's just say you don't see that, okay? So, yeah, that is what you should play, but white instead plays the rook here immediately, which I just warned about, and goes from maiden 4, maiden 5, to miraculously almost lost. Now, you cannot lose that rook. That is a massive piece of material, and now we go from white having a 4-point advantage to black being up a point, okay? Now, as far as I'm concerned, white is still winning the game here. White is still winning the game because the queen is a brutal, brutal beast. It will obliterate everything in its path. Again, as long as no back rank mate is threatened, it's very difficult for low elo players to coordinate their pieces like this. Now, one thing I just want to point out, how close black is to just winning this game very easily. The queen can get trapped in the corner, okay? So, in a worst case scenario, the queen gets locked in jail. Like, the queen literally cannot move. It cannot move. Black can go back and slowly win it. Just has to make sure that it's protected. So it's very important white escapes. Now, white does escape and immediately begins feasting on the pawns. And that is the power of the queen. You see how quickly it went from equal to +2 again, because black here had to play rook c5, which is a completely unplayable move. And the point of that is to not just attack white, but it's to make sure that white's queen cannot feast on all the pawns. That doesn't happen. White begins feasting on the pawns. Rook h4. By the way, danger levels here. So that bishop is hanging. The king is more valuable than the bishop. You can take. You can make sure you give a check. Then you can even win your own bishop. It's also even worse than that. You can move the bishop out of the way as long as your queen cannot get taken. Oops. Check, and you win the rook. Does that happen? No, absolutely not. We're here to laugh and cry and learn. All right, so we're learning a little bit. So black plays rook h4. I would avoid these one-move attacking moves when you fight a queen, because all your pieces are super scattered. All right, bishop d6 is a wonderful move. Black is so lucky that's not mate. I mean, the knight just covers it. So the rook goes to e4. Rook e4 is a fascinating move for a couple of reasons. Number one, black actually has the state of mind to realize that, like, that's mate. So black actually sees rook e4, bishop moves, checkmate. That's amazing. Okay, it's an amazing move also because it just loses a full rook. I mean, like, one mover, you got like 7 minutes on the clock here, and black plays rook to e4. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's incredible. Like, that is your most valued piece. What are you doing? Okay, fine, rook e4. The most incredible thing about this move, though, is that white doesn't even take the rook. White does not take the rook. Black goes bishop b4, which is a fascinating move. Okay, bishop b4 we saw once in this game. The point of bishop b4 is a decoy. Black is basically like, oh, this idiot is going to take me, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to give mate, stupid. That's not even mate. Black's plan loses 8 points of material in 2 moves. I mean, black thought they were a genius, okay? They're not, because mate is covered. But white doesn't see either of those things. White does not see this or this, and instead is like, oh my god, I'm getting mated. I have to go here. And now white is completely lost. Because if black were to find rook e1, which was the entire purpose of this maneuver, the whole point was to play rook e1. It's over. Rook e1, king h2, you take, I have to block. Rook h1 is a mate. As long as the bishop guards me. That's it. The king is in a mating net. You can give me a check. You can give me another check. I will block. It's over. Done. I mean, that was the whole point. You sacked your rook, aka hung it in one move. Hung it again in one move. The whole point was to go rook e1. And you hang the rook again. When you get something taken from you in a chess game, you need to look around and go, how can I take something back myself? I mean, it's right here. It is right here. And instead of that, white plays f3. f3 is incredible because it threatens to take a rook while you could have had the same threat on the other side. I mean, it's just wonderful to analyze how the human brain works. The other thing white saw is the fact that rook e1 was mate. But instead of taking the aggressor, white goes here. Now, here there's another concept in chess known as a mating net. You want to play rook e1, but you want to make sure both of these things are covered. So you play this, and then this, and that's it. You weave the basket around the white king, and the game is over. As you get stronger in chess, you kind of understand the concept of weaving a mating net. Now, white plays rook e1, black plays rook e1, excuse me, king f2, and runs back. Now, the game is over because suddenly it's just the queen on her own, and black has 4 really good pieces. All right, kind of like LeBron when there was no Kyrie and there was no Kevin Love against the Golden State Warriors. Like, that's basically like LeBron's the queen and Golden State is this team, okay? LeBron's got like one random ability of help, and it might be the A-pawn, okay? And black gobbles a pawn on h3, the rook moves out of the way, and queen d4, and now even LeBron James has gone down because the queen and the king are on the same diagonal. Bishop c5 wins the game. Anytime you see pieces like that, you got to think something like this. All right, the same way of the queen and the knight. I mean, if the queen and the king are a distance apart, that the knight could fork them. For instance, hypothetically speaking, you always have to be on the lookout for stuff like that. Now, black has a bishop, a rook, a bishop, and a knight. And one of their bishops is hanging. So what do? Move the king. Of course, because why not? Duh. Move the king to a square where you now don't even have this as a legal move. You've pinned yourself. So what does white do? a4, because you might as well push the pawn. The king moves out of the way, and white plays a5, which is fascinating for 2 reasons. Number 1, black now unpinned themselves and wins the game on the spot. Number 2, the rook can take the pawn. Actually, it's more fascinating because white just doesn't see that. White just doesn't see that. White just moved the a-pawn forward and lost it. Black can take the pawn or win the queen, but does this instead. I mean, it's like black had 2 really annoying pieces, and they were arguing with the other piece. They're like, I want a tone. Why do they all get to move? Why? Let me go. So now the knight moves. Yeah, but now white's pawn is actually going. Now, is white still losing the queen? 100%. But we're past that point. Black will never play bishop c5. Give up. Black played knight h6 because black doesn't care that the pawn is 2 squares away from queening. Black wants to give a check, and black succeeds. Now, again, bishop c5 is never going to happen, so black needs another way to stop the pawn. Oh my god. I mean, if you wanted to play that move, where was this for 3 turns? Okay, fine, whatever. Bishop c5, queen a4, just block the pawn. Just block it and then do something with your life. You really think white is gonna spot this maneuver? No, and that's the only reason it's +4. White's gonna go here or something, allowing rook b5 or something. Come on, it's a joke. Okay, bishop c5, queen a4, and now black I just don't get what black was doing. Like, the pawn is obviously the idea. What is this? What does that even begin to accomplish? Nothing. So white plays a7, and now it's getting real bad. Because now, not only will you lose the bishop, you will lose the knight as well, and suddenly you're lost. So instead of just going down and losing, the bishop and the knight and playing rook and bishop versus queen, black decides it's time to give a check. Another check losing the bishop. Another check before losing the bishop, the knight, and a couple moves later, the rook, and then the entire game. Yup.